Hello to everyone out there in the non-space of the internet. I'm your pal, J.Ishiro, author and alien in a human suit, and we're going to you live and direct from the Arizona desert, where we've been busy. What have we been busy doing?
We've been busy looking for that perfect metal Twinkie in the desert to call home.
And for the audience who is new, who the fuck are you?
Me? Oh, I am the night editor, Kat Rocha. I am here to regale you with tales of editing fun.
Oh, well, honey, regale me.
Yes?
Yes. Let's see. We better see if we're still broadcasting. Look.
Well,
We've got somebody in the chat, but yet the viewership. So, are we still live? Well, we got one person watching.
Endless Nocturne says that it is live.
Okay, good.
So thank you, Endless Nocturne. And yes, you are correct. The movie night was canceled because today was incredibly busy.
So, can you retweet that we're live on your social media? And in the meantime, since we're speaking to an audience of one, it's all about you, dude. What's going on?
Yeah, you're in the spotlight. It's the Endless Nocturne show.
In a sense, it's just kind of a one-on-one talking to Endless Nocturne in the audience.
You have us all to yourself. You know, think about that. Think of the endless possibilities, Endless Nocturne.
What's wrong with us?
We're silly, and I know I'm kind of punchy.
Got Nicole Diaz in the room now.
Hi, Nicole.
New listener or just someone who doesn't talk as much in the chat?
I have seen Nicole Diaz in the chat before, so.
And Squeaky Pickles.
Ooh, the
mistress of the double D's.
Yes.
Yeah, well, unless it's difficult. My rule is if someone has a really cool name, they usually don't get a nickname. But Squeaky Pickles in itself is a cool name too. But
yeah. Now, is this squeaky as in like the sound of like you squeeze it hard enough and it squeaks, or is it like a squeaky toy?
I have no idea.
You know, where you squeeze it hard enough.
But seriously, yeah, we had to skip the movie review. It's from SpongeBob.
Yeah, Squeaky Pickles is from. Oh, okay.
Do you know what that is?
Oh, I kind of. No. SpongeBob was actually after my time with Nickelodeon, so I know a few references, but not all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, yeah. I guess for me, my memories of SpongeBob, other than that wonderful movie trailer with David Hasselhoff, which was genius.
Yes.
Who am I? I am David Hasselhoff. My only real memories of SpongeBob was that it was one of the two shows that ravers all listened to after they came back from clubbing all night on ecstasy. The other show being Teletubbies.
I just remember one Thanksgiving, we were all gathered at my dad's third wife's father's house for Thanksgiving. And in order to keep my brother entertained, because he was young enough, he had on Nickelodeon, and Nickelodeon had a SpongeBob SquarePants marathon in honor of the holiday. And I think my brain turned to mush after a while. They all just kind of blended in together.
Well, I don't think SpongeBob's supposed to be something you watch in large doses.
No.
I think it's like Ren and Stimpy was, where you like watch one or two and you're done for the day.
Yeah.
You watch any more than that, you start to kind of go a little nutty.
Yeah, they made the mistake once of doing a Ren and Stimpy marathon, and that hurt. That was pain. Especially because it wasn't like the good era of Ren and Stimpy. It was when it really tanked and got really stupid.
Okay, so we got a question here.
Okay, Underworld Dream. What happened to your old house?
Well, we're sitting in it. This was never supposed to be a permanent residence as it is. Mm-hmm. It's an apartment. We don't own it. And we're done with renting. Mm-hmm. We want a place that is ours for good.
We want a place that is our home, that we own. We aspire for a mortgage, and not only is we're coming up on when our lease is going to be up. Now, by coming up, I mean we've got about 4 or 5 months, but also the market here in Arizona is exploding. And we were seeing the writing on the wall. It's like, if we want something decent,
If we want to stay in Mesa, if we want to get a good house, we better grab one like now.
yeah, we better hop on it now. I mean, apparently there's this flight from blue states to any state other than theirs. And Arizona's right next to California, so they're having a huge flight of.
Yeah, the housing market's so bizarre right now because if you read Financial Times or if you read any of the reports, everyone's predicting that the housing market's going to crash and houses won't be worth anything for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and that everyone should wait. But yet, if you look around these suburbs in red states, no, the prices are flying up and up and up and up.
Mm-hmm.
And all the good locations are getting nabbed up like crazy.
Oh, we had one where it just came on the market. We told our real estate agent, hey, we want to go see it. And with 4 hours, she said, no, they've had so many offers, they've canceled yours.
Yeah, you'd watch the real estate pages and houses would go up and like 3 hours later they'd be gone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and really what it comes down to is I think housing in cities and blue states are going to be very, very affordable soon.
Yes.
Very, very affordable. I mean, right now, a garbage house in Los Angeles will cost you $1.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally mean a garbage house.
Well, I believe our little condo that we had, our 600 square foot condo in Mira Mesa, sold for $400,000. So,
Yeah,
give you some idea. Yeah.
and we had a nice house.
Yeah.
But
yeah, across the street from a shanty town.
Yeah, well, no, it didn't have a shanty town when we moved in. It was a great neighborhood.
Yeah.
It was a family neighborhood. It was you could go out at 2 a.m. It was perfectly safe.
Mm-hmm.
We left, it was, shanty towns and carjackings.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gavin Newsom. But, so yeah, we figured we better get a place while we can.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we did today. And it looks like we may have a place. We may.
Well, we put in an offer, and the fact that they've been conversing with our real estate agent and doing little parlays gives me hope. So we'll see. We won't know until Monday, but we'll see.
The other thing about people fleeing the blue states, Jesus, what it is that people were leaving anyway, and then after all the riots in the cities in blue states, and the news may not cover it, but they've been going nonstop. They never stopped.
Mm-hmm.
The news just stopped covering it because it was helping Trump. So people are just getting the hell out of the cities if they can. New York is looking at probably the biggest mass exodus in its history.
Mm-hmm.
And they're fearing it may never recover.
Well, considering
not in anyone's foreseeable lifetime.
Well, they want to defund the police. Are they shocked?
Yeah, Seattle actually looks like they're going to get rid of their police entirely.
That reminds me, we need to find out if where we're going, if it's a sheriff's or if they have their own police department. I mean, it's a nice area, but it's good to find out.
Yeah. But then the people living outside of the cities and blue states are seeing the writing on the wall. They're realizing the riots are spreading outward. And also, a lot of people are sick of the lockdown. They want to go to red states where the lockdowns aren't in effect, or if they are, they're very lenient.
Well, other than the fact that you can't go to a sporting event and you can't go to convention centers, everything else is open.
Oh, here? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, as long as there's like say there's a music festival, as long as it's outdoors, it's okay.
Well, it's Andrews. People can go to church here, right?
Oh yeah, people can definitely go to church.
Yeah. In California, you can get an abortion and get weed and go to Walmart, but you can't go to church.
And you can protest the cops.
Oh, and you can protest the cops, yes. And loot and riot.
And loot and riot, but you can't go to church. Squeaky Pickles, I'm closing in on my first house next month. I got a good deal on it too. I don't think this is going to be like the 2008 collapse with the cheap houses. There are a lot more real estate investors now. Very true, but congratulations.
Yeah.
That's wonderful news.
And by the way, Squeaky Pickles wants to join you on a stream where you two can go off on feminism.
Okay. I'm down with that.
Yeah, that always, that and talking about boobs are like always high-rated shows.
We can do both. I can talk about boobs. I can talk about feminism, or more like I can talk about boobs and I can rant about feminism. So yeah, I'm all down with that. Chris P. Gavin Newsom, aka Patrick Bateman. I think that gives him too much credit. I think Patrick Bateman's too likable. Bateman at least has those, damn smart-looking business cards. And knows all the best restaurants to go to. Endless Nocturne, the editor and the alien. Come for the movie reviews, stay for the housing market speculation. Kappa!
We never really did decide on what movie we were going to do.
No, we didn't. We got back and, okay, to be honest, guys.
Well, not only did you get back, we thought, okay, we're done. And then we spent, the next 3 hours on the phone talking to the realtor. Talking about the finer points of the deal and what we needed to do.
And going back and forth, hammering out exactly how much we were going to be offering, filling out all the paperwork, talking to, financiers, all that fun stuff. And so by the time it came to the point where like, you know what? We've been out in the desert heat. It's 117 today. We've just been doing business. It's not going to happen. Acid Trip, the great and powerful wizard clad in black has arrived. Almost missed it while I was doing research for a band name ideas. How about the great and powerful wizard clad in black? That's a good band name. And learning how to drop D. But, I'm here.
Drop the dick?
Drop the dick.
Does it go thud?
Y'all better duck, because I'm going to turn around and I don't want to hit you with my dick.
Are we talking tokusatsu? No, but we can, because, with that show art that I included this time around, it sure does kind of lead the impression that we are.
We could talk tokusatsu.
So, what would you...
That reminds me, we need to, once we get our house, we need to build up our Japanese robot and figure collection. So we'll actually have a place for it.
You want to talk about that for a moment?
What, our figures?
Yeah, well, we've got a tin toy robot collection that's boxed up right now.
Well, we've got a tin toy robot collection that's packed up and boxed up. We have a collection of kaiju figures, not only from Godzilla, Gamera, but also from Ultraman, and various other things. Heck, we've got this beautiful figure of Mogira from the Mysterians.
Oh, yeah, that is such a high-end figure. But that's not tokusatsu. That's no. Toho.
That is Toho.
Yeah. If we're going to talk tokusatsu, let's talk about the really big name. Toho, what was it? Subaraya Productions had Ultraman. Mm-hmm. That is the iconic character that they gave Japan and the world. And it's kind of it's like Japan's Superman, essentially.
We even have a Stargiren figure.
Good point.
We have a Stargiren figure. We have... Oh, who's the weird mantis figure with like the scissor head? That's like one of their iconic monsters.
I forget his name.
But we've got one of those.
We got a couple of the Ultraman monsters.
We do not have a Pigmon.
Now, we don't have any of the iconic ones. We just got ones that we thought looked so bizarre we wanted them on the shelf.
No, we do have the scissor guy.
Yeah.
He's iconic.
Oh, the alien creatures
Yeah.
from the ones that were always trying to invade.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what they were called. We should watch that again.
Yeah, we should.
You think it's a short episode? Maybe we should do like the first 2 episodes of the original Ultraman.
Sure.
I mean that's if you want to feel good, that's definitely something to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But Tokusatsu, the iconic character is essentially Kamen Rider.
Ah.
And Kikator, but Kamen Rider is the one that Americans are more familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
And as your youth, wasn't one of your first exposures to that in the form of that goddamn Beetleborgs?
No, I don't think Beetleborgs is a Kamen Rider. It could be though. I honestly don't know. I didn't watch Beetleborgs.
That was a pain in action. That was like you took something that could have been good and you attached this. Tell the audience how that thing came up. You found out how that came together because of your stepmom.
Yeah. Okay. See, my stepmother at the time worked on Power Rangers. She did the effects for the evil villainess. Not Rita. This was much later, and the man who was like part cyborg. So she worked on both of their prosthetics for Power Rangers. At the time, I was also watching VR Troopers. Which had a lot of promise. It was a kernel that just did not pop really. But because of her working on Power Rangers, I found out how Beetleborgs got created, because you look at the show, it's just, what the fuck is this? If any of you have not seen Beetleborgs for any reason, just watch one episode. Doesn't matter which one, doesn't matter what order, it really doesn't matter.
It's
just watch
sheer
it.
Pain.
Yeah, it just watch it. And the reason why Beetleborgs came about was they had that footage, and I don't know what the show was from Japan, so I'm sorry, but they had that footage, and they're like, okay, well, we need to make a show on this. It's like, well, what's the human plot going to be? It's like, well, let's make it that it's 3 kids and they stumble across things and they get their abilities. Like, well, we've done that already with VR Troopers and that flopped. It's like, well, then we're really trying to capitalize on this monster craze that's going on, because Universal monsters are starting to become famous again, and those things are public domain. So let's try to do monsters. Like, no, let's not do monsters. Let's do something else. And just basically all the producers were spitballing everything under the
how
fucking
about it's
sun.
a haunted house? Okay. And what if we included Elvis? Well,
no. What it was they just started spitballing every idea under the sun. There's a haunted house. There's an Elvis. There's there's a wolf man who's just everything that they possibly could, and they couldn't make up their minds on specifically what they wanted, and they were running out of time because they were going to lose the rights to something. They're like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just do everything all together. Who the fuck cares? It's not going to fly, but if we don't put out something, we're going to lose the rights. So they literally shat out the pilot episode, and son of a fuck if it didn't take off.
I just know that whenever it came on, and keep in mind, I was we're 8 years apart, so I think I was like senior in high school, maybe, or was I in college? I forget which. It would come on, it's like, nope, it's off, nope.
And that was my feeling too, but there's 8 years difference between myself and my brother, and he loved it. So I wound up having to watch it when I'd go visit, and it was just this continuous, what the fuck am I watching?
Okay, so what was Beetleborgs? I did not see more than maybe 5 minutes of it. If I added up all the footage together, what property did they abuse to create that, dude?
God knows.
Anyway, I think another thing we could bring up is probably the very first tokusatsu that you probably ever saw.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the originals, 1959, Prince of Space, MS-23K.
Prince of Space, and and Neptune Man was also part of that same line, right? He was the same character.
I don't know if it was. I don't think so. I think it was a knockoff.
Was it a knockoff? Okay, I had heard that it was the same character. But yeah,
called,
Prince of
called
Space.
Planet Prince in Japan. But yeah, it was from Toei.
You know, the thing is that Prince of Space didn't have to be bad.
Well, you know, it was essentially a kid's serial.
Well, it was a kid's serial, but I don't know. That was definitely one of those films where the morals between Japan and America were very evident on who had different ideas of things. Because the fact that Crankor, or I'm sorry, Phantom of Crankor, except for the fact that he was a fascist ass, he actually didn't seem to go against a lot of the things that he was promising, at least in the dubbed version.
Well, it's essentially give up all your freedom and I'll give you essentially paradise.
He was saying that, but at the same time, he wasn't. He was just saying, no, you rule, you just have to accept me as your supreme leader.
Or die. Yeah. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah. Crankor was great.
And I'll give you all this great technology. In fact, here's some free technology. And he, at no point did he really act, except for the fact that he was jettisoning people into space.
Oh, who doesn't do that? I mean, you know, back in the days when I was on the saucer, I'd do that for fun.
But he was jettisoning people that he didn't think were useful. It's like, well, I didn't mean to grab your aid, so, I sent him out into space.
Oh, yeah.
But no, it's weird because you hear what he says and the fact that he actually follows through. It's like, okay, you're an asshole, but you're actually following through with your promises. So are you really evil, or is it just like a misunderstanding? It's not the type of we're used to Darth Vader,
Well, for parallel, just to keep in mind, comparison.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I guess the equivalent type of entertainment in the U.S. would have been Commander Cody, Zombies of the Stratosphere,
mm-hmm.
or Crash Corrigan, Rocky Jones, Space Ranger.
Yeah.
Now, okay, Rocky Jones was actually pretty high quality for the time, but the others, I mean, think about
Being the Merciless.
Yeah, just think about how good that production, the Prince of Space production, was by Toei by comparison.
No, very true, very true.
So I actually enjoy that movie quite a bit.
Prince of Space? Oh,
yeah,
I agree.
I mean, it's cheesy and it's for kids. I find it quite enjoyable.
As a storytelling element, I gotta wonder if it's a translation error or if it's a simplification of the translation, that he's continually saying, your weapons have no effect on me, yet he continually hops away every time they shoot at him. It's like there's gotta be something being missed in that translation, because as Crow put it, your weapons have no effect, but they scare the crap out of me.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, well, they called Kamen Rider Master Rider, which is a direct translation.
Yeah.
In the U.S. That didn't take off, though, did it?
No, it didn't. Not really. Kamen Rider is something that, well, people our age look back on and go, hey, wait, that was good.
Yeah.
Draken, I used to love Beetleborgs. I had just watched the first 7 seasons of Power Rangers, so I thought Beetleborgs was okay to go back to. Nope, it was way too cringy. Oh, it's a piece of work. You know what? But I'm glad it exists. No. I legitimately am glad that Beetleborgs exists.
Well, you can be that. We'll disagree.
That's okay. No, I'm just sad that VR Troopers didn't really get the treatment it deserved, because it had a great idea, but let's face it, Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad did it so much better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And its source material was Ultraman, And the bad guy was voiced by Tim Curry.
It's hard to go wrong with Tim Curry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just as kind of a weird aside, the graphic novel series called Eden had a great little gag in it regarding Kamen Rider, where they're, without getting too deep into the plot, this rebel group is talking about how they were inspired by Malcolm X, and the Japanese character is kind of looking confused. Is that any relation to Kamen Rider X?
I remember that. I remember that. Underworld, they met Magic Jay Leno, who gave them powers. Yes, they did. Victoria, what are your guys' thoughts on Netflix's cursed TV series based on Lady of the Lake Who Holds Excalibur? Based on some YouTube reviews, it's woke with Black Arthur and Drunk Merlin.
I don't know it exists, but I'm not shocked, and I'm really glad we don't know. We don't give Netflix money and haven't for quite a while.
God, how long has it been since we've had Netflix?
I think we ditched it right around Dear White People.
Okay.
When they put that out, we said, okay, we're done. Fuck you. No more money for you. We can pirate. Oh, what? I'm sorry. We would never pirate. I was kidding. Anything good.
We don't pirate. We borrow.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, after Dear White People's, you know what? Fuck you. Fuck you, Netflix. You know, I don't care anymore.
Well, and on top of, we were already thinking about getting rid of Netflix because they had gotten rid of all of the really cool midnight movies.
Yeah, they got rid of the midnight movie selection. They had gotten rid of all of the indie horror films and indie sci-fi, which was one of the best parts. Is we would find all these films that got no coverage, that nobody, they just kind of got pushed to the side. It's like, holy shit, this is good.
And yeah, they got rid of all of that. And then the Dear White People, it's like, okay, nail in the coffin. You're done.
So, yeah.
Victoria, I got 2 Sailor Moon mangas, volumes 1 and 2. It was my first manga. I have a hard time reading it, but I'm doing okay so far.
You're reading the Japanese version? That's cool.
Good stuff. Very good stuff.
Yeah, I've actually been I kind of been very fascinated by the creation of that character, and it's weird. You can go online, and there is no shortage of fans who will get you the full history of DBZ and the whole thing about the creator and the dinosaur riding a unicycle, was it?
Yeah.
And all the various things that went behind it, and all the thematic connections and the creative process and just everything Toriyama did.
Well, and showing the comparisons between DBZ and Into the West.
Right.
So really getting into the mythology that goes into DBZ.
But what really bummed me out was I could not find for the life of me an equivalent for Sailor Moon. And that really, just the bits and pieces that I had found out that really got me interested is, we were going to do a whole retrospective on Sailor Moon, and you and I watched the first 3 seasons in the new better translation, which was great,
infinitely better,
and I was just thoroughly blown away by it, by just how good it was. College student. I saw it. All my nieces were into it. I saw that it was a good show and it had substance. I just didn't figure it was for me. I had no idea that it was that good and that funny. But
well, that, and especially the first season. There's real sacrifice and there's real growth on Usagi's part.
Yeah.
At the end.
Let's face it. One of the most enduring and most important superhero characters to come out in the late 20th century was Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
And still is. The influence is so far, wide-reaching and global.
Even though there were others that came before her, like Miki Momono and Cutie Honey, who are all influential. It's Sailor Moon.
Are you going to cutie flash?
Am I gonna cutie flash?
Oh, why you did? That's wonderful.
Yes.
Now do that again.
You want me to flash?
Yeah, cutie flash.
I can.
We got to
flash the
jump this
audio.
time.
Yeah.
But I've been trying to find more about the creative process that Taguchi put into creating Sailor Moon, and what I found was funny about how she in the show she kept ripping on her old boss when her original process. The first one was actually Sailor V was her first book, and almost got a series as well.
Yeah.
But there's so little information on any of that stuff. It's kind of, I don't know, a bummer that there's no YouTube equivalent of fans making this kind of content.
Well, and the fact that at least in the Japanese version, not the American version, you really do see the comparisons between Usagi and Sailor Venus, and how their personalities are similar, but yet they are different. They both have the same problems of being slightly flaky, always late, not very good in school, yet the only difference is Sailor V devotes all of her time to fighting, evil and injustice, where Sailor Moon oftentimes freaks out and tries to run away from it.
Well, from what I understand, if I'm recalling correctly, I had read an interview with Taguchi she'd said that Sailor V had been her iconic character. That kind of her idealized self. No. No,
Sailor V is not her idealized self.
And that
Sailor Venus is her.
And no, I had read that in fact Sailor Moon was the more realistic.
No, the one that is her idealized self, the one who she wishes she was, is Mars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she wishes she was Mars.
And that in a sense, Sailor Moon was originally a bit of a parody of Sailor V, in that it was supposed to, she's not the great hero. She's kind of ditzy and has to try harder. And I think she was making fun of her editor quite a bit in that too.
Oh, that makes sense.
And it just took off.
No, that makes sense. No, Mars is who she wishes she was, her idealized self, because she had for a long time been a temple maiden. She had that job.
Oh yeah, you're right.
She wished that she was such a go-getter as Mars was. Mars was always an overachiever, not like Mercury, where Mercury is the bookworm. But how Mars was an overachiever to the point of being obsessive about it.
So,
anime. So would Sailor Jupiter count as a tomboy girlfriend or a not literal mommy girlfriend? Not the mommy. No.
She's the tomboy girlfriend.
She's the tomboy.
The way that works is that Sailor Mars would be the one you hook up with and have a great time in your 20s with. But Sailor Jupiter is the one you'd want to marry.
Well, Jupiter, the great thing about Jupiter was, and she was the one that I gravitated to. See, that's the thing. Whenever you have female dynamics, girls are always going to gravitate to one character as the one that, quote, speaks to them. And I am no exception. And Jupiter was mine. Why? Because she'd kick your ass first and ask questions later. She's kind of boy crazy. I was never boy crazy, but I like the fact that she wasn't afraid of sex, basically. And her what drove her was that she wanted to be a world famous chef and learn how to cook. And so she was a brilliant cook because she wanted to please people that way with her food.
She had a temper.
Oh yeah, she totally had a temper.
And she thought she should play Snow White because she had the biggest boobs.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not kidding. If you saw that episode, that's actually in the original translation.
Yeah, she says, well, it's perfectly obvious that I should play Snow White. It's like, why is that? You're huge. It's like, exactly. I've got the biggest tits.
Say Sailor Mercury, I think the portrayal of her in Sailor Moon Abridged was pretty funny.
Her being the mousy one. If any of you haven't seen Sailor Moon Abridged, look it up. I believe most of the episodes are still online. Some have been taken down due to copyright strikes, but many of them are still up there. So it's SMA. Squeaky Pickles to Acid Trip. That depends. Did Tom King write her? He likes his mommy girlfriends.
Oh, I think Tom is definitely a mama's boy.
He's a something.
You got to speak into the mic or they won't hear you.
I did. Yeah, he's a something.
No, you actually literally looked away from the mic and just made this face like you wanted to drive your fist through a wall. So
I fucking hate Tom King. I really do. Just anytime I see him, I just want to punch him. Anytime
he does have that face, doesn't he? Where the expression is kind of that mix between smarm and.
Well, how can he open his mouth and shit not come out? I mean, seriously. I have seen several interviews with him, and this is since doing AMA with him. And every single time he opens his mouth, he can't help but fucking lie. And he can't help but
he is a compulsive liar. Actually, that was one of the things we were going to put in the Adventures in Awful, and it just got to the point where there were too many clips and it just would have taken too long.
Yeah.
Is the number of clips where I could have just gone through this medley of all the things where he says one thing and then contradicts it in another statement, often in the same panel, or in, like he'll say something and then like a week later, the next panel he does is completely different and says something totally different.
I'm like, well, I ran this scene by my 10-year-old daughter to make sure it ran true. It's like, you ran the orgasmic hot tub past your 10-year-old daughter to see if it reads true?
Yeah. He flat out went on that all the Catwoman Batman marriage stuff, he ran it past his 10 or 12-year-old.
May have been 12. Or,
and
of course, it may have been 7. I mean, God knows. You know?
Yeah, because that kept changing too. The stories about his kids kept changing and not lining up.
And then at one time he says that he ran it past his wife, and it just.
Well, he said that Catwoman was he patterned Catwoman after his wife and the way his wife acts. Yeah. And that he ran all the marriage issues past his daughter, who was either 12 or 7. Story keeps changing. But yet, if you look at those issues, you've got Lois and Selena watching Superman robots strip, and then they fuck them.
Well, also, I thought that he was also claiming that he had ran... that Lois was the stand-in for his wife. Mm-hmm. No, it was supposed to be Catwoman? Yeah. Well, the reason why I thought it was Lois is because Lois goes on that whole rant on how her life is in a rut and how she's a career and a mother and a wife, and it goes in this endless cycle of unfulfillment, and basically she's having this existential dread of having to be a fucking mother and a wife as well as have a career while she's watching robots strip for her. I mean, paging Dr. Freud, seriously.
Now, what if it turned out that Tom King really was this badass spy like he keeps claiming, but that in fact he's a double agent, and that really he's been working for China the whole time, and he basically said, I'll get into the American comic system in the movie world, and I'll take all of their best characters, and I'll just fuck them up the ass until they're demoralized. Well, I'd believe it.
I'd believe it, but he obviously doesn't understand how comics work. It's like, okay, fine. I still have my back issues and my graphic novels. Fuck you. I can pop in a DVD of Chris Nolan's work, Fuck you.
So, wait. So you mean fuck Tom King?
Yeah, fuck Tom King.
Say it one more time.
Fuck Tom King. Tom King has a family? I seriously doubt it.
Well, he keeps talking about his wife, but he doesn't seem to wear a wedding ring.
Yeah. I have yet to see him pull out pictures. I have yet to see these people show up at a convention, to cheer on their dad, And
if his son is imaginary, he sure doesn't seem to have anything nice to say about his son.
No.
Why did we bring it? Why did you do that to us? Tom King.
No, let's change.
Tom King. It's like
no more Tom King.
that's like, we're in the middle of a nice conversation. We're at a nice restaurant. We're eating a wonderful meal, and then somebody just brings a plate of shit on, tosses it on the table, and says, "Here, now try this. It's named Tom King."
It's named the Tom King.
The chef made it himself.
Panda Power. I just learned about a book called Wild Sargasso Sea, which is a crazy feminazi response to Jane Eyre of all things. What?
Okay, I'm gonna look this up.
I'm sorry, I read the word Wild Sargasso Sea and I immediately flashed on what's the film Zeke, otherwise known as Blood Waters of Dr. Z.
Oh yeah.
Where he's going on about how he wants to tongue a sargassum.
I don't know. Here you go. Wide Sargasso Sea.
Wide Sargasso Sea. It's a 1966. Oh, it's a 60s film, 60s novel, by British author Jean Rhys. It's a feminist and anti-colonial response to Charlotte Bronte's novel Jane Eyre. I don't see how. I mean, I've read Jane Eyre. There's nothing colonial about it. It's describing a background to Mr. Rochester's marriage from the point of view of his mad wife Antoinette Cosway, a Creole heiress.
So wait, it's yet another piece of fiction by one of these crazy SJW cultural warriors that can't create anything new herself, so she steals somebody else's property, shits on it, and says, "Look, I've done something."
Antoinette's story is told from her youth in Jamaica. That's not where she's from. I've read the book 3 times. She is very much so an English woman. Oh my fucking God.
Well, once again, proof that lefties cannot create anything on their own. They can only deconstruct. Even the great Alan Moore with his Watchmen wasn't original.
And how dare he rename her as Bertha? No, you know what? Fuck that bullshit. No, fuck that shit. No, have any of you actually read Jane Eyre? He didn't meet her until their wedding day. He had no clue that she was out of her fucking gourd, pants crapping insane. Not only pants crapping insane, but fucking violent to boot.
So the feminists here probably related to her.
Yeah, until their wedding day. It was an arranged marriage. And he tried. The man tried. He says so in the story that he tried to make that marriage work, but she was so fucking out of her gourd and the family wouldn't let her out of the marriage. And you know what? We were just having this conversation earlier today. This was back in the time where you did not send people to institutions. Why? Because
they might as well be torture dungeons.
Yeah, they were torture dungeons and they'd fucking kill you. And second, yes, there would have been a scandal. I'm not going to lie. That was a concern. But third, she definitely would have gotten better treatment and did get better treatment living at home in her attic room with doctors coming, all the time to make sure that she was okay. And he took care of her. But poor man, what was he, in his 40s, 50s, when he had adopted a young girl because he wanted to have some form of a family. He definitely wasn't going to father anything with this woman, so he adopted a girl instead. And he didn't plan on falling in love with Jane. He just wanted to have a life, a normal fucking English life. So fuck this bitch.
Would you, in general, say just in general, feminist novels are shit?
Yes. They're total fucking shit. I have yet to read any of these retellings or re-envisionings that I thought that, was in the spirit of the original. And the biggest one, and I know I've ranted about it before.
The Mists of Avalon by a sex offender.
Actually, I haven't read that yet. But yeah, it is by a sex offender. No, the biggest one that pisses the ever living shit out of me to this fucking day is Wicked, where she's a communist revolutionary who is sleeping with a guy who's married that she knows is married, and she enjoys the fact that she's sleeping with a guy who's married. And then what does she do? After she gets him fucking killed with one of her bombings, she goes to his widow and winds up squatting on her property. Never telling her, oh, by the way, I'm the one who killed your motherfucking husband.
Well, that does sound like a leftist.
Yeah, I hated that book. I hated it with a passion. The only reason why I even finished it was I felt obligated to. And the ending just smacked of, I wrote myself into a corner because I totally forgot that, oh yeah, Dorothy's actually supposed to be the fucking hero, not my bastardization of the Wicked Witch of the West. Acid Trick. Hey, Ishi, how embarrassing would it be to cover one of my guitars with nothing but anime stickers? Why would that be embarrassing?
Oh, that sounds pretty cool, actually. I do that with my laptops, and I essentially, if the guitar is your tool of creative art, the laptop would be mine because that's where I do all my writing. And yes, I have two computers. I have a big, powerful rig that's made for cranking out graphics and web design and desktop publishing, which is a beast of a machine, but it's very powerful. But I also have a writing laptop, and that thing never touches the internet. It is always on airplane mode. It's got a music player and Word on it and nothing else, and all my writing files. And the idea is it's an isolated environment where there's no distractions, there's no chance of doing anything other but writing, and it's portable. So, and I always cover those with usually band stickers and anime stickers. I still miss the laptop, 2 laptops ago, where I had it was all themed Robotech.
Yeah.
I wish I could replace those stickers, but there aren't any conventions anymore.
Well, I bet we could get them from TeePublic.
Yeah, but those are all kind of shitty paper out of a printer stickers.
No, they're not.
I want nice vinyl ones.
What about the one that I've currently got from Wipeout?
That's paper.
Is that paper?
Yeah, that's paper. That's not vinyl.
Oh, we'll have to order you one.
But let's see. So no, I still think that's pretty cool. And in fact, if you do it, you got to photograph it and send it to me.
What anime would you put on there? I mean, I'm not really that into Pokemon. I haven't been since, oh my God, high school. But, I'd totally put like a Magnemite on my computer.
Yeah.
I put a Magnemite and I'd put a Ghastly.
Not a bad choice.
Ghastly was always my favorite. Panda Power, I have to admit, I knew this would piss Cat off.
Well, rants are good, right? They're good for ratings.
Well, yes, you guessed correctly. Endless Nocturne to Power, Panda Power. You're in charge of cleaning up the radiation if Cat goes nuclear. Well, did I go nuclear or did I just explode?
You just exploded. You didn't quite go nuclear.
Okay, we're not quite at DEFCON 4 yet. Neo Star Productions, the brilliant star that shines through the night, the sonic boom that shakes the room. Riser Man stands before you. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's one hell of an opening.
I should have said it more effectively.
Do you have a theme song that you play when you enter the room? Okay.
Here I come to save the day.
Let's see.
Neo Star. Wait, Wicked? You mean that crazy re-envisioning of the Wizard of Oz where the Wicked Witch is somehow the hero? Exactly. I hate that piece of shit. I hate it with a passion. There are few books I have ever read that I legitimately wanted to throw into a fireplace, and that was one of them.
So then what would you make of, say, what is it, Maleficent?
The films?
Yeah.
Thoroughly confused and basically just what's the word I'm looking for? Showing off Angelina Jolie. That's the whole point. It's there to show off Angelina Jolie. I hate this personal pet peeves. Now, what I'm about to say is a personal pet peeve. This is not my editor's hat on right now. This is a personal feeling because I know it's been done well in the past, but for me personally, as a rule, I hate prequels. I hate prequels with a passion. If that was where the story was going to start, then that's where it should have started. Don't give me the backstory to things, especially if it's going to be this is how a bad person, got to be the way they are. Now, exceptions to the rule to a point, Star Wars, because Star Wars is an encompassed universe. It actually goes back even farther than all of it, hundreds of years. So because it is an all-encompassing universe, it's okay that you have a prequel of how Anakin turned to the dark side. That I'm okay with. But, shit like Maleficent, that's a fairy tale. I don't fucking need to know how she became evil. She's a fucking fairy. She's been that way forever. I don't need to know any of that crap.
Yeah, she was the fairy of cuntiness, right?
Well, no, she's a fae. In the original story of Sleeping Beauty, she's a fae. And fays are fickle. She's not evil. She's just as evil as all the other fays in the forest. She's pissed because she got snubbed. In the original story, she's just like all the other fays. It's just she didn't get the invitation to come to the party. And just like any other fae would, she was pissed that she got snubbed and said, well, fine then. I'm going to curse your baby because you didn't invite me to your party. In the original story, she's not necessarily evil. She's just a fae. And in Disney, the wonderful part about Disney was your bad guys were bad for a reason. They're bad. You're supposed to hate them because they're bad. And Maleficent was the best designed out of all of the classic Disney villains. Why the fuck would you want to make that sympathetic?
Because the left likes justifying their horrible behavior.
Well, fuck that.
They don't like the idea of ideals or having heroes or something to aspire to. They like the idea of, well, you can be other shit and still.
No. You want a film where they made the villainess. She's still fucking evil. She's still fucking insane. But you can understand where she came from without taking away from the fact that she's fucking evil. And that's Snow White, A Tale of Terror with Sigourney Weaver. Sigourney Weaver playing the evil queen in that is amazing. That film is nightmare fuel. I love that film so much. You want to have a villainess who is still evil. It doesn't take away from the fact that she's evil, but you can understand where she came from and why she got that way. Watch that film. I cannot recommend that film highly enough.
How about Pink Flamingos? We know how the villain got that way.
But that's not a prequel. That's not a prequel.
We know exactly what happened to Divine.
John Waters is a fucking genius because he's able to take a topic that absolutely makes me want to vomit, turns my stomach, and will turn me off of almost any film that I see it in, which is rape. And he made it funny as hell. He is a genius.
What the film has, rape, kidnapping, torture,
white slavery.
What was it? Selling, what was it? Selling infants to lesbian couples?
Yes. I mean, and again, all of those things, when you think about them, makes you want to throw up. But
The way he portrays it.
The way he portrays it is funny as hell. It's the most hysterical thing. He is a genius. Victoria Fagbile, have you watched Once Upon a Time where Evil Queen was redeemed?
I don't even know what Once Upon a Time is.
No, I haven't seen that. That's a TV show.
I was hoping you knew.
I think it was a TV show. Endless Nocturne. Cat's issues with villain prequel sounds like the main issue with The Last of Us 2. Yeah.
I thought that was a transvestite golf simulator.
Did you say a golf simulator?
Yeah, it was a transvestite post-apocalyptic golf simulator.
What is that? It takes too long for anything to make a putt?
No, it's about a transvestite with a golf club.
Oh. Really?
I don't know.
No, I'm really. That's the transvestite's weapon of choice is a golf club.
She kills the hero with one.
She does?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think actually all of that would have been fine if they'd replaced that man thing with Divine. I think then it would have been a great game.
I want a post-apocalyptic game with Divine. Oh my god, that completely off topic. I was watching Razor Fist playing Wasteland 2 yesterday, and there's apparently all these different references to Blade Runner and specifically Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep through the game.
Oh yeah, well wait, which one?
Wasteland 2.
Okay, yeah.
And you come across a turtle that's on its back, and you can't help it. Why
Right.
aren't you? And it keeps asking you, why aren't you helping the turtle? But then if you have somebody with animal affinity, you can flip the turtle over and then you can help it. But then you're supposed to follow it. He followed that thing for probably half an hour. And it does actually lead you to like a cool cache or something, but he followed the turtle for like half an hour.
Oh, you don't get to keep it as a animal companion?
No, you get a rat though.
I know, you get a very smart rat.
Yeah, he named it Templeton. No, he named it Splinter. But no, you follow the turtle and it leads you to a really good cache of something. But I just thought that was hilarious that you actually do find the turtle on its back. It's like, why aren't you helping the turtle?
Yeah, I was quite impressed with that game, actually. Wasteland 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very pleased with it. It was one of the few games I supported on Kickstarter that delivered.
Mm-hmm.
You've got one that was supported on Kickstarter.
Oh,
it's
Blasphemous.
It's really good. Yeah,
Blasphemous.
It's basically a Castlevania follow-up.
Yeah, it's a Castlevania. Oh no, the one that's the follow-up is Bloodstained.
Oh, Bloodstained.
And that one, our friend Rory was kind enough to give to me. I still need to finish it. I can't believe I'm only 30% done with the game. I'm amazed by that. But yeah, Kickstarter's gotten some really good games through there.
Okay, so I'm going to post something.
What are you posting? You post that. I'm going to get a liquid because I'm thirsty.
But then more liquid of some sort.
More liquid.
Did you give me Gatorade?
No, I didn't. I can do it.
Damn you! God damn you! Okay, so there is my email right here.
I got an undead horse instead.
I want all of you who want to appear on the show to send me emails with your Twitter and email accounts so that I can contact you, so that we can start bringing on people as guests more regularly, and it'll be easy where I can just I guess DM you or email you a quick link onto the show, since so many of you want on. And yeah, I'm very serious also about doing some sort of panel show where we can get like 3 of you on at a time and make some sort of game out of it. Because again, it's fun to talk about this stuff. And I mean, often this is just Kat and I bullshitting with you guys, but it would be good if like maybe on Mondays we did that, or Tuesdays. That was just kind of a regular thing where we brought a few of you on to just hang out. I dumped it bird. I don't know what that means. I know there was something else I was good. We're still not sure on what movie we're going to do next. I mean, we've got quite a few on the list. Dirty Harry, Lady Snowblood, are two that are very high up there. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's another. But we also need stuff that's a little shorter, some shorter films that don't take 3 hours to watch, so we can do the show. Especially with the moving, that's part of the problem. Is we need if we'd had a shorter movie to watch today, we were going to do either Snowblood or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and neither of those are very long films. Recommendations are still always welcome. Let's see. Also, comedies or something funny would be good, because I've noticed far too many of the ones on the list are pretty dark. I know Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's not dark. That was like the feel good movie of 2019 in a lot of ways, if you haven't seen it. Let's see. You don't need any sort of software. All you need is a browser and a microphone. Our software takes care of the rest.
Are we trying to do a call-in show?
Yeah, I'm telling people to send me their contact info.
Oh, sweets. Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, I was asking if there were films that people could recommend that were either shorter or weren't so dark.
Well, Pumpkinhead's one of those films that I've heard shit tons about and never seen.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, Victoria, I'm actually an introvert too, so I know it doesn't sound like it on the air, but
well, see, think of it this way. When you're alone and it's just you and a microphone, you can be an introvert and, be incredibly social.
okay, let's see. Let me
Clue is a great film.
do we own Clue? We got Murder by Death.
We got Murder by Death. We don't have Clue.
Caddyshack. That's not a bad one.
Satoshi the Eater of Souls.
Anime episode watch party. That's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all.
I'll do Minky Momo. The episode that's cursed.
Pumpkinhead.
I'm going to spam Pumpkinhead until y'all watch it. It's a modern fable, not just a horror movie.
Would you say it's a modern fable in the same vein as, say, what would be a good one? Edward Scissorhands or Jinro, or something a little different?
Well, I've heard, now correct me if I'm wrong, because I legitimately don't know.
Oh, yeah, Satoshi Kon. We did Perfect Blue.
We did Perfect Blue.
And we are going to do Paprika.
Yeah, we do have Paprika. Oh, did he do Paranoia Agent?
Oh, God, that is such a good series.
Yes. Yeah, he did Paranoia Agent.
I love that series.
That series is amazing.
So, anyway, let's see.
Rock and roll. Waxworks. I know you've talked about Waxworks.
Waxworks 2 is very entertaining.
They Live. We have They Live.
That's another classic. Yeah, that's not a bad choice. They Live. That would be a good one. You know what else would be good? Buckaroo Banzai.
Yeah.
Another one of those. It could only happen in the 80s films.
Now, here's a question for you. Would They Live? Because we've been talking about doing pairings. And I know that, we've been talking about doing network. Would pairing network with They Live be fitting or no?
Not really, no.
No.
I kept saying I thought Videodrome and network could pair together, but maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it, but at the same time, I'm not 100%. But that doesn't mean that we couldn't do it.
And I was thinking that Network would be perfect for November.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Irresponsible Captain Tyler. All right.
Was that like with Captain Ron?
They live. Yeah, very topical right now. Ninja Scroll.
Ninja Scroll?
Redline. We are going to do Redline. We own that on Blu-ray.
Yes, yes.
That is a great film.
Redline's great. Oh, there you go. 2 Redline with Death Race 2000.
No.
No.
Redline is such a beast of its own.
True.
And I love that at the end, it's really just one big metaphor for the passion of having a deep passion for something. And the passion in this is racing.
Mm-hmm.
And the passion is so deep that it's at the end, you realize it's also a metaphor for sex.
Mm-hmm.
That is such a good film.
No, it is. It's a great film.
Underrated as all
And
hell.
the cinematography is just insane.
Black Lagoon's a good one.
Yes, Black Lagoon. Johnny Mnemonic. You know about Johnny Mnemonic.
All right. You want me to talk about Johnny Mnemonic? I'll talk about
you
Johnny.
Got me ranting, now you're getting
Johnny
him.
Mnemonic. God damn it, William Gibson. Why did you have to have the writing for film skills? Actually, that's not true. I was going to say of Stephen King, but that's not true because we've seen that William Gibson can write for film and write very well.
Like Alien 3.
Yeah, his draft of Alien 3 would have been utterly incredible.
Get it on Audible with Lance Hendrickson, right? Not Lance.
Yeah,
with Lance Hendrickson.
And Michael Bain.
Yes.
We saw his episodes of X-Files were excellent.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, definitely.
I know that people have mixed opinions of New Rose Hotel. I think that was pretty good. It needed more money.
Needed more money and less scenes of Willem Dafoe fucking Argento's daughter.
Oh yeah. So there was no reason for that movie to be bad. There really wasn't, and I'm not sure why he chose to take Johnny Mnemonic and turn it into a big dumb action movie plot with B-movie production values. There was no excuse for it, none at all. And to have it directed by someone who had never directed a movie before, because it was a friend of his, Robert Longo. I mean, why?
Longo.
And I read the original script to Johnny Mnemonic, and it wasn't any better. I mean, it was obviously written down, they dumbed it down to no end.
Well, what was the reason why they renamed Molly?
Because somebody owned the rights to Neuromancer.
Oh.
And this Jane character was such a, I don't know, just downgrade. So you couldn't cook up a better character?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like it was striving to be a bad late night B movie.
I'd rather have like an all grown up version of was it Melanie Griffith from Cherry 2000?
Yeah.
Wouldn't she have been a much better badass if she was all grown up and hard bitten?
Oh fuck no. At the time, you know who you should have had is fucking Lucy Lawless.
Oh, there you go.
There, done. You've got your badass female. In fact,
yeah,
in her prime, Lucy Lawless would have been a perfect Molly.
Yeah, she would have. She totally would have. I mean, she didn't have the dancer's build, but that's okay.
Doesn't matter. She could pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, if you wanted a 1990s cast for a Neuromancer film, David Duchovny's Case, Lucy Lawless is Molly.
Yes.
There you go. That's you got it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, maybe having Steve Buscemi as Rats.
Ooh, that would have been,
one thing that really annoyed me about all the audiobook versions of Rats, barring the one that William Gibson did himself, is the various people who read the book gave him different accents or inflections that made him gruff or kind of tough guy type characters, when really Rats was supposed to be a guy who was from the Bronx and kind of a fast talker.
So, would you have had Lee Van Cleef as Armitage?
No, because Armitage had a specific look, but I know he was supposed to be Lee Van Cleef.
Yeah.
But no, Armitage had to have some, kind of an Arnold Schwarzenegger build.
Oh, okay.
Or at least that look was kind of what he was aiming for. But there was any number of other people you could have chosen. But yeah, the Johnny Mnemonic had no excuse. That could have been a good film. He's one chance to make a film, and he chooses to make something bad. And I don't know if that's because he had become so burnt out on Hollywood because they did nothing but jerk him around or what. But it's like, why, Bill? Why? And the more I was thinking about it, really, now granted, this would be a licensing nightmare. And I realize I'm probably alienating the shit out of the audience because the only people that have any idea what I'm talking about are people who've either seen these bad B movies or read Gibson's work, his Sprawl trilogy or quad trilogy.
Thank you, Warzard.
Are you talking to me? Did you review Scars? Is that what you're telling me? Let me know. But really, the ideal way to put together a Burning Chrome movie, okay? And I say Burning Chrome for a reason, is don't make those short stories all films. What would have been perfect, and it would have fit for the era, is to give it the Pulp Fiction treatment.
Oh.
And tie New Rose Hotel, Johnny Mnemonic, Burning Chrome, and maybe one other all together as separate chapters. So you could open with what's his face from New Rose Hotel in a gunfight, and then going up and hiding in the capsule and pulling out the gun and freaking out, and then you get the title sequence, and then it could go into Johnny Mnemonic, and you find out the data that they stole is the one was handed to them by the guys who were in Burning Chrome. And so they make an appearance in the Johnny Mnemonic story. And then you get into Burning Chrome and you see the data originally being stolen. And then you go back to the beginning and finish it off with New Rose Hotel. You could tie them all together seamlessly.
Kind of reminds me of Snatch.
Yeah.
Where it's all, chasing the diamond.
But those stories were all interwoven. I mean, do it in chapters like Pulp Fiction. And I think that would have made a great film. But honestly, at this point, Hollywood is in no state to ever produce a good movie like that. Movies like that cannot be made now.
Not by Hollywood.
No, it'd have to be indie. Got any other questions about Neuromancer, Johnny Mnemonic, Burning Chrome, any of the early Gibson? I can go, oh, wow, a man of my own heart, Andy Sedaris. We could do, what is it, Hard Ticket to Hawaii? Where they kill the blow-up doll with the rocket launcher?
Yeah.
Although there was one in college I caught with a bunch of friends that had Eric Estrada and Roberta, I forget her last name in it, and oh God, Sedaris films. But really, if we're gonna go that route, we should just go full on Jim Wynorski.
Yeah.
I mean, Weekend at Bernie's. What do you mean Weekend at Bernie's? We're watching that right now unfold live with the election campaign. Weekend at Biden's.
White House with Bernie. Yeah, White House with Biden. Johnny Mnemonic, Matrix, and Bill and Ted all exist in the same universe.
That would be funny. And in fact, it would be hilarious if Bill and Ted and Johnny Mnemonic were both Matrix fantasies of lives that he had lived before.
That would work.
Yeah, unfortunately, Neuromancer will probably never make it as a film now, and it's becoming dated. Really, the film that should be made that I think would be incredible is Hinterlands by Gibson. And that was one of the only real true science fiction stories that he wrote. And that was the one where they figure out that there's a wormhole in the asteroid belt, and Earth starts sending these probes in and these people in, and the people will come back, and they're always carrying little artifacts, trinkets with like alien technology that just change the world. But the people always come back utterly insane. And by the end of it, you realize the twist is Earth is the entire planet's become a cargo cult to the wormhole.
Oh, that's
That is
interesting.
it is one of his best, and it's so underrated.
Draken, The Devil's Advocate is a great film to review. Love The Devil's Advocate until the final 10 minutes or so. Yeah, but yeah, that film leading up to that final, those final 5-10 minutes, yeah, is probably one of my favorites. Absolutely. And it's very obvious that the ending was tacked on because the studio said, no, this is too sad. The devil can't win. We need to have a happy ending where everything is reset. And that is another one of my pet peeves. I fucking hate resets. It's like, then why did I waste all of my time, following your story if you're just going to hit the reset button and none of it matters? No, fuck that. I hate resets.
Do you hate resets?
I hate resets. Never ever reset. I'm sure that there are exceptions to the rule, but now this is me putting my
there's an exception to the rule, the reset of, hey, those Kathleen Kennedy Star Wars movies with J.J. Abrams never happened.
Well, because that's outside of it. The story itself, it continued into a glorious turd, and then the next thing is saying, you know what, none of that happened. I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. But within the context of your story, the story that you are telling, if your character hits the reset button or your character wakes up and it's all a goddamn fucking dream and none of it actually ever happened and none of it actually matters and none of it actually affects their lives,
it's like, why are you wasting my time?
Exactly. Why do I give a shit?
Okay, Wizard. So that was your review, the one that called my novel Scars a bizarre, twisted version of Flowers for Algernon. Thank you. I appreciate you adding that. Every review helps. In fact, believe it or not, the reviews are even more helpful than the actual purchase of the book. In terms of the algorithm on Amazon, it helps Amazon know who to show the book to.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe once I can get up to like 31, I think it is, reviews, it'll up it'll up the book in the algorithm so that more people see it.
Mm-hmm.
So please, if you've read Scars, go review it, even if it's like one sentence that says something like, I read the book and it was bitchin'. It was about a rat and stuff and I liked it. Believe it or not, even that helps.
It was about a rat and stuff and I liked it.
Yeah, Ice Pirates is hilarious, but I'm going to be upfront. As much as I like that film and we thought about doing it, the problem is if you didn't live during the 80s, so many of those references make no goddamn sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Space herpes, yeah. John Wick. Hancock.
Millennium is an interesting movie that probably needs to be remade.
Yeah, Millennium was a neat looking film too. I mean, I think that was a film that did suffer from budget to some degree, but yeah, Millennium was one of those films that looked like it had a bigger budget than it did. It was a legit sci-fi film, toyed with some very interesting concepts, and the futuristic setting looked really cool. Actually, I kind of wonder if the guys from The Matrix borrowed from it.
Mm. Cesario, a lot of buzz is going around now that the KK Star Wars films might get quietly retconned due to Disney's hemorrhaging money because of the beer bug.
It's more than just the beer bug that's hurting them. It's their bad choices.
Mm-hmm.
The beer bug, as they're calling it, was the last nail in the coffin that tipped it over, just like the comics industry.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? If Disney goes out of business, the world would be a better place for it. I'll be upfront. They have done so many bad things. They have fucked with our copyright law to the point of it just being garbage now.
Mm-hmm.
They've hurt theaters to the point that they may all go out of business. They want to. They've bought up all these different properties just so they can vault them and make the DVDs and copies all disappear.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's gotten to the point where they've vaulted the film Alien. If you want to do a film revival, you cannot show Alien anymore. They're permanently vaulting it, and they don't want once the Blu-rays and DVDs are gone, they don't want to reprint them. They want people to forget about it so they can do a new Alien. And that's just one example. They have this whole long list of all these films that are going to vault, and they're gone. Once they're gone, which is really upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Alien's the one that really pissed me off. And, maybe that policy will change if Iger gets the boot, if Iger gets taken down because of all his visits to Epstein Island. I'm not kidding. Nice. I'm not kidding. He might be one of the people to go down because he was chartering Disney cruises for rich people to go there, which he participated in.
Mm-hmm.
So, who knows? Maybe he'll go down the drain and that'll be the end of that. But yeah, the dissolving or breaking up Disney would be a wonderful thing. These are the same fuckers who were suing elementary schools for drawing Disney characters on the walls.
Yeah. Warzard, Crime Wave is a classic. If you haven't seen it, check it out.
Oh, that might be in our noir collection.
Do we have Crime Wave?
I don't know. I'd have to check. I mean, keep in mind, our noir collection is so big, I couldn't even name all the titles, and half of them are in boxes.
True.
That'll be a nice thing if we end up moving, is our DVD collection won't all be in boxes. That's been part of the problem.
We should get floor to ceiling.
What the fuck is this Black is King shit? Seriously.
I have no idea.
Is this like the Beyonce Black Power film now? Where they can't? Should it be called Black is Kangs?
Is this like His Highness?
No, it isn't. And I do find it weird that there's a bunch of weird satanic imagery in that film. Apparently, it's like, why?
Really?
Why would you do that? I mean, I'm really beginning to wonder if Hollywood's purposely ramping up satanic imagery just because they know it'll get them talk on the internet.
Then we should definitely do Starry Eyes.
Yeah, we should. We have to order it.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we were talking about doing Starry Eyes and Neon Demon back to back.
Starry Eyes is currently $26 on Amazon.
I hate to say it, but it's another one of those indie productions where they did a short run of DVDs and Blu-rays, and they're never going to press them again.
Well, I've got...
That's part of the problem.
I've got that gift card, so I can get it.
Okay, so it's the Sam Raimi comedy. You don't mean the 1940s crime wave. It was kind of like an in-between era for when... a lot of people confuse noir for the gangster films of the 20s and 30s, but there was kind of this weird shift where they transitioned into noir. But there was one called Crime Wave. Black is Kang is Beyonce's addition to Tariq Nasheed's Hidden Colors series. Oh, great. No, Tariq Nasheed, fucking racist extraordinaire. I want to be an asshole and do one called Black is Kang, White is Emperor. Just to piss people off and see how many people would say I'm racist. The 90s Spider-Man series, very, very good. I was quite impressed by that. I was shocked how good that was. You said that's where you learned most of your Spider-Man knowledge at first, before you got deep into Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
You know Spider-Man better than I do, actually.
Well, that show was really good. His quips were funny. I mean, Spider-Man was legitimately witty and funny in that. And yeah, it got some deep cuts. In fact, it went through the whole Venom cycle of how, Spidey got Venom and then he rejected him, and then it went and found Eddie.
Yeah.
And how Venom's obsession with Spider-Man developed and grew. I mean, it really got deep into it, and this was multiple episodes. I mean, it was up there with the X-Men cartoon of the era.
I thought it was actually better.
Oh, it was. But what I mean is how it actually got into the stories themselves and did not pull punches. Not only are they vaulting it, but they're also denying indie theaters permission to play them, which is how they make most of their money. It's so nasty.
Yeah, it's vicious. They want to destroy indie theaters as well. And that's why I keep repeating to you guys out there, even if your money's tight, if there are films you love, buy the Blu-ray now, because there is a vested interest by especially Disney, but a few other companies, but specifically Disney, to make all those films disappear in a vault, never to return, so that they don't have to compete with old movies that are so much better.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to be able to take old properties and reinvent them. It is so fucking sick. And they just want, essentially the idea is that they want you to have to choose the woke one or nothing. And they haven't figured out that people will just choose nothing. But, things like, films that have changed the world, films that have impacted our culture, as well as films that really, even B movies or bad movies, they all are a part of our culture. There's a reason we keep them and hold on to them. So essentially, it's as bad as tearing down the statues, in my opinion, or wiping out museums, making films disappear. It's fucking criminal. And all this film revisionism that Disney's doing on the Disney Channel and streaming, where they're cutting scenes out, same thing. That is fucked. It's just as bad as burning a museum down, in my opinion. It's cultural vandalism and cultural treason for one reason and one reason alone: money, backed up by, say, politics. And if Bob Iger's head ends up inside a guillotine, I wouldn't mind. Yeah. But, you go down the list, Facebook and YouTube are trying to do the same thing, rewrite history.
Mm-hmm.
Who else was it? We could go down that list. Nicole Diaz, a lot of Africans actually dislike Black as King because it misrepresents Africa. Those are the same people who got attacked by SJWs. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It's just like, apparently, if you talk to an Egyptian, they really dislike this whole revisionism of we was Kangs, where Black nationalists are claiming, Egypt's history as their own, which it's a complete misrepresentation and bastardization of what Egypt really was. Egypt was actually, to some degree, very multi-ethnic. It wasn't a black empire.
Exactly.
And genetic testing right now is showing that the royalty was, by and large, genetically more Persian and European than African.
Mm-hmm.
The populace was a little bit more diverse, though, right? Egypt's your thing.
Yeah. No, it was a lot more diverse. Again, they dealt routinely with Babylonians, with the Greeks. It actually was kind of a melting pot, at least up near the Delta.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I don't know if they're there anymore, but there used to be videos made by Egyptians on YouTube of them just going off on the whole "we was Kangs" stuff. That it just hysterically funny. Hysterically funny. Likewise, I've seen Native Africans who had done videos or just go on these long rants about wanting nothing to do with urban America, and that they really dislike the misrepresentation. I don't know. I can only speak as an outsider on that. Okay, should we call it a night? Or do you have
been on for an hour and a half?
Or do you have more ranting to do? Is there another? Is there another A bomb? Is there another double H bomb waiting to explode?
I've always got ranting to do. It's really just
like breadcrumbs.
Like breadcrumbs. Well, going back to our conversation earlier.
Yeah, breadcrumbs.
Do you want me to rant about?
Yes, I do.
Oh God. Okay. This was stemmed from a conversation that we had this morning, in which I was talking about how I absolutely despise breadcrumb plots. Now, what is a breadcrumb plot? Now, I'm not talking.
It's scavenger hunt as plot.
Yeah, it's scavenger hunt as plot. Now, when is a breadcrumb plot, acceptable? When does it work? Well, in situations where you're perhaps hunting a treasure, like the Goonies. The Goonies is a breadcrumb plot. The map tells you to go here, and then you go here, and you go here, and you solve this puzzle, which leads to this puzzle, which leads to this puzzle, but that's the whole point of the treasure hunt. The treasure hunt is you're following a map to get to a specific goal, or other breadcrumb plot. Breadcrumb plot is
The Da Vinci Code.
No, I'm not getting there yet.
Okay, I'll just stay out of this.
Okay. Okay, I'm talking about what works. The other breadcrumb plot is when it's something like, this trail leads to this trail leads to this trail, and when you get to the end of it, you find out that the whole thing has been a test for the main character, and the test for the main character is, will they get to the end? And either if they get to the end, do they get a prize? Like, we're part of some secret agency and you made it to the end, we want to give you a job. Or you're too smart, you followed our trail of breadcrumbs, you've just proven that you're too smart to keep around, we now need to eliminate you. And then now our hero has to run for their life. Basically, a breadcrumb plot, the breadcrumbs are placed there for the sole and specific reason for our main character to follow the trail to get to a goal that is planned for people to find. Again, a pirate treasure, or this was an initiation to be like a super spy, or this was an initiation to enter like a secret society of hackers, or something like that. A real breadcrumb trail, as an example, that many people believe exists is it's called cicada. Cicada something. I don't remember what the other word was. But this is something that exists on the dark web. And this is a breadcrumb trail that has been laid for years. And the idea was you solve this puzzle and it leads you to an actual physical location. And you have to actually go to that physical location. And if you don't get there within a certain time frame, then you won't get the next clue. But if you did, then you'll get the next clue and you have to solve that puzzle, and that takes you to the next thing. And many people believe that it was an op in order to figure out who might be a good candidate to be part of, like the CIA or the NSA, especially their cyber squad.
Well, people tended to disappear if they figured it out.
Yeah, that was the thing, is people, it's legitimate, it's real. People would disappear.
And I buy the idea that it really was a recruitment tool for some sort of black ops cybersecurity.
Yeah, so if you're going to use that as your plot device, that is a good use of breadcrumbs. I hate breadcrumb plots that the breadcrumbs are there solely so that your main character has something to follow, where when they get to the end, there's really no rhyme or reason why, or no logical reason why those breadcrumbs were left there in the first place. Like every Da Vinci Code hack that's out there. Now, I personally haven't read the Da Vinci Code. I've heard that it really is a mystery that he's trying to unsolve. So I can't say to the Da Vinci Code itself, but every fucking hack out there It's the, oh, well, I found this and that led me to this and that led me to this and now I've uncovered your secret. And it's like, no, that doesn't make any goddamn fucking sense. Why would anybody or any secret organization or the Illuminati or whoever leave this trail of breadcrumbs for you to find? It makes no goddamn sense, other than the fact that you need something for your character to do so that the plot can happen. As another example, of when it works or when it should have worked, if Chris Carter had actually thought things through. Having Mulder follow the trail of breadcrumbs, and then it turns out that he was actually, he thought that he was doing investigating. He really did think that he was uncovering shit, and then it turns out, no, we left those trail of breadcrumbs specifically for you to follow. And now the question is, did he actually uncover something, or were they purposely trying to lead him astray? That's a genius way of using breadcrumbs. But no, so many different places breadcrumbs are left strictly so that your characters have a reason to do something. The one I hate the most at this moment, and it's strictly because I had such a love for the franchise, is there was an episode of Doctor Who during the Matt Smith era. I don't remember what happened other than the fact that like Amy Pond and her appendage, aka husband, were trying to put the pieces together to figure out where the Doctor was, and she full on picks something up and says, look, it's TARDIS blue. This means something. It's like, no, that's a fucking stupid ass breadcrumb for you to find. Why the fuck would the Doctor leave anything behind that was painted fucking blue for you to get and to go, oh, this must mean something? The Doctor would never fucking do that. Why do you have that there? That's a fucking breadcrumb that's pointless, and I fucking hate it. And there's so many different movies out there and so many different books that use breadcrumbs like that strictly so that your characters have something to fucking do and for the plot to happen. And that's what I hate about breadcrumb plots. Anyway.
So some real life examples of breadcrumbs that are done correctly that you could put in a story. The first and foremost I always like to bring up would be the Zodiac Killer. Okay. And he was leaving breadcrumbs for the public to find and law enforcement for a specific reason.
Again, it's specific reason.
And that was he liked taunting law enforcement and journalists, showing that he was so much smarter than them, that he'd leave breadcrumbs or clues in his messages, and then after the fact he'd say, well, if you'd noticed this, this, and this, you would have caught me, but you're stupid.
Real quick, super anime gamer? No, I am an original Doctor Who fan. I liked up until Eccleston. I thought Eccleston was the last Doctor that actually still had the spirit of the old show. What they've done to it is a travesty. But anyway.
So there's that, where you have somebody who purposely is doing it to taunt and upset people. Another realistic form of breadcrumbs in real life would be when groups that have to remain secret create their own language of codes and symbols that they can use out in the open to talk to each other, send messages, or just signify, hey, I'm in the club, or you can go here. I know that gangster organizations have that. We have now learned pedo organizations have that. We've learned what the black market has tons of those. And if you can crack that or figure out what that language is, you can find them. Actually, a good example of that was in Pacific Rim.
I was just thinking that. With he had the UV paint on the different signs.
Yeah.
And he was following that.
The third type of real life breadcrumb that, again, can work in your plots there's a certain breed of sociopath who really gets off on doing terrible things or the forbidden or breaking the norms of society and what's considered morally correct. But that's not enough for them. They need to sign their work or start flaunting little things out in public just to show they can do it. And, it gets, they kind of get off the rush of, Well, look, if they knew that I was actually wearing the blood of so and so on my face and it really wasn't clown makeup, they'd be horrified. Things like
Yeah.
so. Those are the appropriate ways to do it. I do know for a fact spy organizations will hide things in broadcasts that only their spies would pick up. They used to do that on radio too, where there'd be a word slipped in, or they'd play a song at a certain time that would be a clue. I'm sure there's its own version on the internet now. So
yeah.
But yeah, where it's the clues purposely left there for you to find.
And that's the thing. They have to.
Exactly, like shoes on the power line.
Exactly.
But you know what's funny now is that so many people in those neighborhoods, and I've seen this happen, just think, oh, that's a cool thing to do, like tagging.
Yeah.
And people will start throwing shoes on power lines.
Like,
I don't know if that symbol works anymore.
Last I've heard it doesn't, because too many houses have been busted.
Yeah.
Yeah, where the cops just look for the shoes.
So I wonder if the little triangle spiral is going to vanish as well now. Hey, doesn't the Yakuza have their own symbol language that signify it's them?
They do, but they wear it proudly.
Oh, okay. So it's a badge of honor.
Yeah, it's
a mark of quality.
This is a proudly Yakuza-owned establishment.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay, now I'm curious, what didn't you like about David Tennant? He's almost universally loved by old and new school Who fans.
Initially, he came off okay. But
I agree. He originally started off as good.
But as time went on, he became the smarmy, so pleased with himself doctor, where it was just him and Rose bopping around time, laughing and being above it all. And, was it the one with the ood should have been great. And they show up, oh, that's so ood. Oh, look at this. And then he shows up, humanity, you're great. But you know what? Go home. You're stupid.
Well, he suddenly, decided that humanity didn't deserve to rule itself.
Yeah, that he was going to mommy us. Oh, you shouldn't defend yourself, humanity. I'm here. Well, fuck you.
And yes, he did have an opportunity to realize, I'm going down the wrong path. When that one woman, I can't remember what her name is, he had saved her and she still committed suicide.
Right.
I mean, that was a great point that should have been a turning point, and it wasn't.
But the fact that Britain protects itself with a laser from invading aliens, and he ruins the prime minister's life for it, and we're supposed to think he's cool.
He's pissed that
the humans are defending themselves, that they're not turning to the doctor.
And she even had a brilliant point. Look, doctor, we can't wait for you to be around anymore. And the thing is like the old doctor totally would have understand. I mean, what's Unit's whole point?
And this looking down his nose at everyone's shit really got on my nerves. And then there was the one where the master shows up and they turn him into a Dobby troll, and everybody has to clap their hands at the same time and believe in Tinkerbell will come back.
Ugh. That hurt.
That was just sheer pain.
That was utter pain. And though Matt Smith, again, I didn't have a problem with Matt Smith himself. Same with Capaldi. I loved Capaldi. It was the plots they were given and the story arcs they were given. They were subpar and juvenile and really put down the fact that, that the doctor was male.
And the fact that the sonic screwdriver became a fucking magic wand.
Yeah.
It wasn't a screwdriver.
It became... what I loved about Peter Davidson's era is that they got rid of the sonic screwdriver because it was becoming too much of a crutch. And
on top of that, I think the death nail for the series, in my opinion, the thing where it was like, okay, it is officially dead now, is when the cyber fleet shows up and Matt Smith says, I'm the doctor, and they all run away.
What?
Okay, you know what? Fuck it. You know what?
No, worse. When he does it to the fucking Daleks.
Or was it the Daleks he did it to? I thought it was the Cybermen.
No, he did it to the Daleks.
And they all flip out and run away. It's like, well, okay, so like, these are our villains, huh?
No, the Daleks would have said, "Oh, well, then we doubly need to fucking kill you." You know, they wouldn't have run away. They wouldn't have been scared. The Daleks don't know scared.
And another one that pissed me off was that they had reinvented the Daleks as religious jihadists. Brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Modernizing them. Brilliant idea. And then they killed them off in the same episode because they were too chicken shit to tackle Islam.
Yeah. Brilliant idea, gone in 2 seconds.
And then suddenly every important historical figure was a woman, really secretly.
Oh God, yeah, the lizard woman who's fucking Sherlock.
It's like, excuse me, no, you guys have already established that Tom Baker Doctor was Sherlock.
Yes, you've already established that.
So you guys haven't even watched the goddamn show.
God, and just and then, just it is really sad when the only episode that I can think of that I legitimately enjoyed
was the Angels
after Eccleston. Well, after Eccleston, the episode that I legitimately enjoyed the most was actually Neil Gaiman's episode, and that was because and even that I thought had a few flaws, but what I loved was that it was nothing but fan service, and that's why I loved it. Was he did all the things that we wanted to see. We wanted to see people really play games with time dimensions within the TARDIS, things that we always wanted to see anyway within the TARDIS. The only thing that would have made it even better, which didn't happen, but that's okay, it's strictly because I'm a total geek, is the fact that there's both a Cyberman and a Dalek lost within the corridors of the TARDIS.
Yeah.
And
a Sontaran.
And a Sontaran. So it would have been hilarious if he had brought that up. But you know what? It's okay. What he did with it was nothing but a love letter to what had been. And that's why I enjoyed the show. And I loved that Capaldi was basing his run off of Pertwee's era, who... That was a great to see a return to that era of the of the Doctor. Just so many lost opportunities, and it was all ruined because of fucking wokeness. I fucking enjoyed Missy. I loved the idea of the Master body hopping into this woman and her just being this beautiful queen bitch, because let's face it, the Master body hops anyway. It's already been established. He already changes personality when he does it.
He's a sick pervert.
He's a sick pervert.
That's been established for a very long time, ever since was it Delgado acted him?
Yeah. Delgado, and the fact that they dragged it out, so you didn't realize who he was until the final reveal, and that was a beautiful reveal. I loved fucking Missy, and I was pissed when they found out that they got rid of her.
But another thing, just pointing out with the Daleks, for instance, when Terry Nation, the guy who created the Daleks, was still alive.
Oh, God.
He had it in his contract that he would approve Dalek episodes. And he made it very clear that, he could have cashed in and had, let them use the Daleks constantly, and he would have seen it line his pocketbook. But he cared so much about his creation and what he was doing with the Daleks that he wanted script consideration, and he made it clear that he didn't want them showing up every season. He wanted them to show up every couple of years, and that he insisted, it was in the contract, that he wouldn't approve a script unless he had like a list of like, so many people had to die, the Doctor had to take these kinds of losses. They had to be terrifying, and he maintained that.
Oh, God. The episode where second Doctor, Troughton, where they come across the three Daleks that were in hibernation.
Yeah.
And the Daleks were trying really hard to act like they were subservient, and it was all part of this devious plan to get them to allow them to build more Daleks.
Yeah.
That was a genius plot. Why didn't we see a return to that?
Yeah, they just kept getting dumber and dumber, and essentially by the end of it, they might as well have been stormtroopers.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just targets.
Well, they were just, they were worse than Remembrance Daleks, where they were just, dying left and right and really had no plot.
A remembrance of the Daleks?
Yeah.
And that happened after Terry Nation died.
Yeah. And with Eccleston, you really did see a return to
Oh
it.
yeah, the episode Dalek was great.
Oh, it was brilliant.
One Dalek was a menace to the planet.
And I thought, wonderful. They're fine. They have the technology now to actually show how one Dalek is a walking tank and how it can take over.
And again, they had that whole idea where they had rebooted the Daleks as they used to be stand-ins for Nazis, and to make them modernized, they made them religious jihadists, and then they killed them all off because, again, the BBC was too fucking pussy to tackle a real issue.
And I even really liked what their revamp of the Cybermen originally. I
had mixed feelings. I liked the fact that they were alternate Earth Cybermen.
They were alternate Earth Cybermen, and I liked that, and I liked the direction that they were taking them. It was very obvious that they were borrowing from spare parts.
Spare parts would have been better, and the guy that created the Cybermen was such a discount Davros.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree with that. But as far as a modernization of them, I thought they had potential.
Yeah, I mean, they looked great.
And they thoroughly shit-canned all that potential. Especially with the Cyber Woman episode of Torchwood.
Cyber Warrior. Yeah, just fuck it.
No, that Cyber Woman.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Where it was a Sarayama type.
No. It would have been fine if it was a Sarayama type. It was just ugly.
Yeah.
Okay, hearing this, I want to hear an hour discussion between you two and Gary, aka Nerdotics. It would educational and entertaining.
I would love to hang out with Gary at Nerdotics. Those two have a great show, and I always like listening to what they have to say. They obviously have a real love of this stuff and a deep knowledge.
Super Anime Gamer, did you guys ever watch Broadchurch or Sinball's other projects? Think it lacks the talent, dislike for Who or the BBC?
Chibnall is a culture warrior. It's that simple. I think that he resents being in the shadow of this great property. And like so many of these culture warriors, he's committing cultural treason. He is essentially walking into the museum and burning it down.
Oh, like with Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly. With, oh God.
Berman?
No, not Berman. No, the current crew with STD. What's his name? Kurtzman.
Yeah, Kurtzman.
Same thing. He pretty much flat out said Star Trek is about pushing agendas now. He said that at Comic-Con.
Fuck that.
They said it's not about Star Trek. It's about having a platform for politics.
Fuck that.
And Black Lives Matter. He said this. Actual quote. So, again, these people are literally walking into the museum and setting it on fire.
Is that why his badass is a white elf?
Yeah. Every time you see, that was footage of the Taliban going into museums and smashing up statues with hammers. Hollywood, these producers are doing the exact same thing. It's no different. Let's see.
Age boomer. I was a child of the 80s. Peter Davison was my doctor. He was my doctor too.
Davison was the man, although I got a special love for McCoy as well.
Yes, very much so. But my mom had taped Castrovalva off of public television, and I destroyed that VHS from running it so much.
Okay, for those of you who actually watched the old series, the episode Castrovalva, which was kind of a tribute to Escher in a way.
Oh, yeah, it was.
And what was it? Transdimensional physics. It had a character for a long time considered to be the Wesley of Doctor Who. Adric. And he was an obnoxious character. He was very obnoxious. Not as bad as Wesley, though.
No.
But obnoxious.
And the actor, to his credit, he's kind of owned the role.
Oh, he's got a great sense of humor about it, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a scene at the end. There's a scene at the end of Castrovalva where they're walking back to the TARDIS, and Adric just looks horrible.
No. They're not walking. They're jogging. They were made to jog back.
And Adric just looks terrible. And there's one part where he wanders off and goes behind a tree.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just in there. Nobody really thinks fine. We're in the episode, he was been tortured by the master. So you figure he's acting that he's been wiped out and he's just still bouncing back from going through hell.
Mhm.
But the reality of it is the night before, it had been his 18th birthday, and the cast had taken him out and gotten him shit-faced for the first time. Thoroughly shit-faced. And he was hung over for that scene. And while they were filming, he had wandered off behind a tree to puke his brains out. And they kept it. All right.
Okay, Tom Baker and Peter Davidson were my doctors growing up. Yes. Tom Baker, Peter Davidson, all of them.
Although, now that they're available on Blu-ray and DVD, we've really come to love Troughton stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, Tomb of the Cybermen, I would say, is
God.
a lost classic and probably one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other one? Moonbase.
Moonbase.
Yeah.
Dominic Powell to LK. I only watched clips of Jodi's first season, and I just couldn't bring myself to watch the rest. Who just keeps on being screwed over by Chimbal and unfortunately BBC.
Yeah, the BBC has essentially become a political organization now. They exist to push the EU agenda and wokeness. That's essentially, which is illegal, really. They've become a propaganda agency.
Mm-hmm.
Funded by the taxpayer.
Although I've heard that you actually have the option of saying, I don't want any television, and therefore... No, you don't? I had heard that you had the option.
But I know that there is the TV tax is a push to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Defund the BBC.
Mm-hmm.
Now, remember, as we were talking about, we wanted to start messing with the woke people. We're not having enough fun. I mean, yes, it's depressing. Yes, it's upsetting. There's a lot to be upset about. But at the same time, these people are a perfect target for ripping on and messing with. And I'm not talking, just, oh, you suck ass or that kind of, I'm not talking insulting them to their face. I'm talking about doing things to confuse them and misdirect or to annoy them. Not necessarily even direct attacks. And when we were talking hashtags earlier, we were joking that maybe we should try and get, was it black long members? Or was it Matter? It was something like that. But you were saying that you wanted one that was a beautiful...
Oh, it was Big Ladies Matter.
Yeah, Big Ladies Matter. That's it. We want to get that trending. Big Ladies Matter. Mm-hmm. Because it'll confuse the social justice warriors because they might think, oh, well, this is a body pride or is that what it's the
body positivity.
Yes, they might think it's some sort of body positivity thing. And if we could convince them all to start tweeting, Big Ladies Matter, mm-hmm. because that would confuse them and piss them off because it would be derailing from their movement, but at the same time they'd have to give it some level of attention because that's one of their pet issues, being mm-hmm. fatties. So I want you all tomorrow or even this hashtag Big Ladies Matter. And if an Antifa protest comes to your town, I want you to get a big stack of Trump 2020 stickers. You can get them free by contacting the campaign. You go to the tailgate party before the Antifa riot where they're all hanging out. And when they all go into town to riot, I want you to randomly place those stickers on bumpers of the Antifa people's car. Not everyone, because then they'll figure it out. It's got to be random. This is proven to work because when the Antifa people will come back, they'll see, a random Trump supporter's car, and they will set it on fire or smash it up. Mm-hmm. This has worked. Do this.
Cooper Clark had a good one.
Where?
Right there. Out of curiosity, have you watched Mr. Robot? It does have left-leaning social commentary, but it never feels preachy. It comes off as the character's beliefs, not the writers.
Oh, that's good. No, I've never seen Mr. Robot. As far as left-leaning, we need to make a distinction here. There really is a difference between liberal in the classical sense and left. And, I realize in this day and age, I don't even bother with the L word anymore because it's become so bastardized. But yeah, is the character in Mr. Robot really a left red commie? I mean, left essentially means Marxism. Or is he liberal? Because there is a difference.
Just, LK, how about getting the woke people to wear black dog collars to support BLM? That's genius.
That's a good idea. Because then you could claim it's showing your white guilt for slavery.
Yeah.
God, how would you get that trending?
It's really cheap to get printed actual like dog tags that say like BLM. Actual dog tag.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking that. Just getting them all to wear dog collars to look like idiots.
Well, I was thinking, you tell them, buy dog collars, and then you get these special, BLM support tags to go with it.
The shaving head gag by 4chan was pure genius.
Mm-hmm.
It really fucking was. I am impressed how they got so many dumb white girls to shave their white hair. In defiance of their whiteness, they were going to shave their hair and stand by their sisters in BLM. And they all went to the protest, and everyone thought they were skinheads.
I don't know why. That just makes me think of the episode of King of the Hill where after Luann's boyfriend, I forget what his name was.
Yeah.
He died. She kept her hair
and turned into a social justice warrior.
Yeah. And she didn't even know what it meant.
And it was pretty accurate.
Here's a picture of a starving boy.
God, talk about accurate.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been 2 hours. It's been good hanging out with you.
Yeah.
And
this has been great, everyone.
I want you all to email me who want to show up and be on air.
Yes.
And we'll figure something out.
LK, my personal favorite 4chan joke was getting white woke women to pee themselves for feminists.
It is amazing how gullible white college girls are. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anything to be cool, huh?
Okay, real quick. In this topic of, left-leaning and wokeness, I got to bring up Black Mirror.
Okay.
How that first episode of Black Mirror with the politician who, the whole nation was being held hostage unless he fucked a pig.
Right.
And the fact that was real commentary on, wasn't the actual prime minister. Who was it?
I forget.
It was some politician who.
I think it was the prime minister, though. No.
Okay, it was the prime minister who had apparently fucked a pig while he was in college. So, I mean, that was a great episode and great commentary. And then we watched the next episode. And the next episode was the one where you're all on a
treadmill, or it was a bicycle.
It was bicycles, and you earned credits while you're on the bicycle, but everybody aspired to be on reality TV, and he helps his girlfriend to get onto this American Idol show. Spoiler alert, by the way. And she gets on the show and she wins. And they say, well, we really don't need a singer right now, but we do need a porn star. And so she decides to do it. And he immediately, gets determined and he starts working his ass off. And you think that he's getting enough money so that he can, go rescue her from this life of porn. But instead, he gets the mansion, he gets the lap of luxury, he gets to get off the treadmill. And what's he do? He spends his days in his huge ass mansion watching her on her porn show. And it's like, and we're supposed to hold him up as the hero? Are we supposed to feel for him and his plight? And
Black Mirror is so contrived.
Yeah. And
Twilight Zone, it is not, nor is it Outer Limits.
No, and it was very the other thing that was poignant was the fact that he was the only black character in the whole thing.
Okay, why do you guys ask these kind of questions when we're about to leave? Seriously.
Because they think of them now. When writing an alternate history story, what's your advice on showcasing a period in history like the counterculture of the 60s and 70s in a fair, balanced way? Not too idealistic nor too cynical.
Well, that is a very, very difficult question. I mean, but we'll start with the 70s because that's the easier of the two at first. I mean, 70s is such a bizarre time. It was like the hangover after the party. Everybody had realized the party was over, but kept going. And in a sense, they were all nihilistic in a sense. There was a real nihilism in the culture. Clothing styles had gone to shit. There was a lot of great horror movies at the time, and that was embodied by the realization that the dream of the 60s had died and they'd failed. Um, the world was going to hell. Everyone was expecting the country just to fall apart and everyone to die. There was cocaine entering the scene, porn. It was a pretty ugly time in general. And really, the way that I would suggest doing it is show both sides, show the party and all the things of the 70s that people remember fondly, bell bottoms and disco and um, what, uh, what pimp movies, black exploitation, all that stuff, as well as the reality behind that, which was these were all symptoms of an America that had all but lost total faith in itself and given up. And that's the one. The 60s is a more difficult one, and the reason being, okay, the early 60s not difficult, swinging 60s not hard at all. The later half of the latter half, either you're full of shit or you're going to tell the truth. Okay. Either you're full of shit and you're going to pretend that the peace movement was peaceful. They weren't. They were Antifa. They were just as violent, just as destructive, and just as full of shit. I mean, we've been told a different story because there wasn't as much media back then. We didn't have streaming and cell phones to record it all, but you actually see interviews with these kids. You actually see what they were doing. Now, it is the exact same shit we're seeing right now. It was no different. Their ideology was just as communist, self-centered, and stupid back then. So really, either you have to tell the truth about what the 60s were, which was one great big lie, and a bunch of spoiled brats holding their country hostage, or while the other half of the country was trying to responsibly deal with a situation that was beyond their control, i.e. the Vietnam War and the Cold War that had been dropped into their lap. And the fact that the threat from Russia was very, very real. So you had that half of the country trying to deal with it responsibly, while you had the other half of the country, which was essentially a bunch of shitheads out in the streets setting fires and dancing and calling themselves a peace movement while they bombed buildings and ran away from home and joined the Manson family and did drugs. And so it's kind of hard to portray the 60s as anything other than a cynical nightmare or a blatant rainbow lie. And so I don't know what to tell you on that one, pal. But Dominic, I'm sure depending on what you're doing, I mean, if it's an alternate history, you can break the rules. You can make shit up. If you're familiar with my World War Kaiju, believe it or not, historically speaking, World War Kaiju, I give a pretty faithful portrayal of what was going on in the United States during the Cold War.
Teachers have actually used the book in their classrooms.
It's ridiculously historically accurate on a lot of points. It's just I added two ludicrous elements, and that was, kaiju were real instead of nuclear missiles, it's nuclear monsters, and aliens are involved. And I just had the characters behaving to these ludicrous situations as a regular person would, and that's where a lot of the humor comes from. So that might be one approach to it. Another thing about that is I like little facts that people didn't know. For instance, I have in World War Kaiju, I have the secret or the journalist talk to Carl Sagan about aliens. Now, that's not fictional. Believe it or not, Carl Sagan was a part of Project Blue Book. Most people don't know that. And he really had been part of the military investigation into UFOs. And there were secrets that he couldn't talk about. So, we can talk more of that. You know what? Next time I'm on air, bring it up and we'll talk more in depth about this. All right. Okay, we're going. Take a good evening. Take it easy,
Mhm.
and we will talk to you soon.
Definitely. Good night, everyone.